This conference will now be recorded.
So basically, he just wants to hire the part-timer, and it's a lower rate than previous part-timers, and he feels he'll be very good because he's a retired state trooper, and he'll be covering probably with Josh the Friday and Saturday nights during the rest of June and July and August, and then in an emergency when they need coverage.
Do you want to make that motion, Michelle?
I would make the motion to hire him.
I'll
We have a
second it.
Second,
Steve
Becky?
Bedore will second it. Yep.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Anything else on the police department?
That's it.
Okay.
Norma, it's Alicia. Michelle, I told Kevin on Friday, so if you'd like to remind him, the paperwork he's looking for is on the website, the village website, under the human resource page.
I sure will. Thank you.
Terry Jones.
Good evening, everybody. You'll have a copy of my DPW activity report. All the docks are in. The bathrooms downtown are open. The guys have been coming in and cleaning them over the weekend, and every morning we give them a atomizer with some disinfectant every day. So things are going well there. We still have to put the mooring buoys in, and we've been borrowing Don Bedore's boat to do those things. So hopefully by the end of the week here, we'll have the mooring buoys in. And that's pretty much all that I have on my report.
Terry, is the
Yeah.
power turned off down on Mary Street?
The power is all on. I can shut the ones off to the pedestals. I believe they were left on. And we can shut those down. That's not a problem. If that's what you would like.
Somehow we've got to get a notice up there, because it's nice that people can pull in there and park for nothing, but they can't make that their weekend dock.
Right. Okay, I'll come up with some sort of language and I'll put some signage up down there.
Because I think that boat is there again. That was there for 2 weeks and it left, and I'm pretty sure today when I left the office that it was the same one. I didn't have a chance to go down and take a look at it, but
Okay.
I think we just have to send them a letter. I'll take a look and see if it's the same one in the morning.
Are you talking about the F-26 Trojan?
I don't know what it is. I thought
The sheer water on the back?
I've got the registration number. I don't know the one that's there right now, but
Okay.
NY 3896 PM. It was there for a couple of weeks. And then it left. And then I think it's back, but I'll double check before we do anything. Does anyone have any questions for Terry?
Norma, I did want to address, I think there was a letter regarding the pickleball court or something.
Oh, right.
That was, I think I think it's in her report area, but I responded to that gentleman this afternoon or this morning actually. And our tennis court is striped for pickleball. And I think he was referring to the rec park courts, because he mentioned courts and maybe one could be pickleball. At least one could be painted with pickleball. So I'm assuming that I did send an email out to him and telling him that I did reach out to Jimmy Jones, and I forwarded that email to Jim. So if he's got any questions, he's got my email and he also has Jimmy.
Thank you, Terry.
You're welcome.
Another thing that came up recently was some activity down there at the pirate ship.
Yeah.
And you went down, and your crew did, and cleaned it up around there. But I think that if anybody sees anything suspicious going on down there, number one, they're not supposed to be there to begin with because the park is closed.
Right.
Just tell them to call 911, and that'll dispatch law enforcement, and they'll go down and chase them out. But I think that's, I don't know, I didn't hear anything back from Kevin on how he wanted to respond to that email. But I think that would, I mean, they call 911 when they saw a cat up in the cemetery. So I would think if they saw kids jumping off the pirate ship, they could call 911. And that would be a way to maybe frighten them
Well-
enough to get them out of there.
But it really isn't kids, it's teenagers going up there and doing inappropriate behaviors, and language is terrible. So it's not that it's, kids jumping off. They're
No, and they're hanging out there.
teenagers.
So,
They're
but
hanging out, and their language is terrible, just like when they're at the park, and it's things of that nature. So, yeah, I don't obviously have a problem, and the person that I received the email for, that's what I suggested that she do, and I told her that DPW had gone in there and cleaned it up. But teenagers are a problem.
right. So, but I think the quickest way to get help down there is 911. But there's a cop in town all the time that can swing by there. So that'll take anything else for Terry? Is John Condino on the phone?
I am on, Norma. How are you tonight?
I'm doing just fine, John. Do you want to give us a little FEMA update?
I will, yes. As a matter of fact, you have, I think, before you our amendment for our engineering fees that will take us through the 2019 damage. Everybody, I'm assuming everybody on the board has seen a copy of that?
Right, it was in our minute
Okay.
package. Yes, it was.
That's
Yep.
what I thought. Okay, I thought we'd gotten to everybody. So that'll take us through the preliminary and final design, the bidding phase, construction phase, etc. The amendment is actually for a total of 142,000, which makes and it's combined with the original contract for the 2017 damages, which was 37.5, which makes that entire contract 179.5. Now, this is all subject to review and approval by FEMA, of course. We are in the process of finalizing this week, Terry, so you know anyway, of our preliminary engineering report, which we hope to have submitted to the boys at FEMA in the state by the end of this week. So Terry, when we have our call next Tuesday, hopefully they'll have that and we'll be able to discuss that with them.
Okay.
Get that process.
I'm not gonna make it, John, but I'll talk to you tomorrow. I got a procedure, unfortunately, next Tuesday.
Okay. No, I understand. I understand it.
Well,
But that
Terry,
is
the
moving
good
along.
news is that Fred Schmidt's
Fun
back, right? Terry, have you talked to Fred Schmidt since he's back on the FEMA team?
We've talked to him I did talk to him briefly after the meeting last week. And he will be back in full action here once he gets up here. So it's good to have him back on board. He knows the community, he knows me. So it's good to have him back, and I'm confident that by next week, by the time we get everything rolling, we're going to be in good shape, and hopefully we get this all put behind us and get things working and fixed again.
Absolutely.
Okay, did everybody on the board take a look at the amendment that John presented? Because we'll need a motion to accept that amendment number 1.
I know that we're gonna have to, accept it. It just, I guess, John, I needed just a little bit more clarification.
Sure.
As to why I see the numbers.
Yep.
But it's such a huge increase. And so if you could just.
That's an excellent question.
Yeah, sorry, John. Yeah.
No, and I anticipated that.
Yes, I'm sure that you did. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, so the real reason here comes in because the damages between 2017 and 2019, the 2019 damages really are much more technical in nature. We've got a lot of structural engineering that needs to be done. The whole reason that portion of the Riverwalk failed was because it wasn't originally engineered correctly. So it's a whole different project that we're doing this time. And actually, frankly, probably going to run into, wouldn't surprise me if it was 3 times the size of the, as far as cost is concerned, of the 2017 project. So it's a bigger, more expensive project, and it's also much more technical. But good question.
Okay, thank you. All right, I will make a motion to
For
accept,
amendment
yes,
number
for
one.
this amendment number 1. Yep.
And can I have a second, please? Somebody on the board come up with a second for the amendment number 1 that Nancy just presented?
I'll make the motion. I'll second the motion.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, John.
Norma, just if and by the way, thank you very much. So on the ready projects, just so everybody understands, we continue to put together both the estimated cost for each of those projects and also the amendment for that for those projects. And we fully expect that that will be done this week, and so that in 2 weeks we'll be back with that amendment
Okay.
for the work on the ready projects. And I did, Norma, just so you know, also, we're in the process of reallocating the funds from those 4 different projects. And I did receive a call from Carolyn Ryan last week. Very helpful call. She was just curious when they might be seeing those change requests, and I told her, I assured her they would be in this week for their review, and she was very positive about it. She thought that, considering the nature of the projects, the fact that we needed to do the underwater investigation first, she was very positive, saying, and she gave me some good guidance on frankly how to put them together and maybe word them a little bit. So that should be more of a procedural thing. So we're hopeful that once we get that in, we'll be able to get that accomplished. But so at the next board meeting in 2 weeks, we'll have the amendment for the total design for the ready projects at that time.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you,
Thank you.
John.
Okay.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Terry.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
Yep.
Megan or Manasseh, who's on?
I'll go first and then I'll pass the baton to Manasseh. So first thing I want to talk about was this pay app for Deputy Malone. This is actually from 2018 regarding the Bartlett Point sewer pump station relocation project that happened. Somehow the retainage was never released to WD Malone, and nobody said anything for 2 years, and they gave us a call and was like, hey, we never paid, and we checked we couldn't find anything in our records that said that we had Joanne double check. So it is correct that we do still owe them about $4,807. So I was hoping to get board approval to pay this amount to WD Malone, and we can use sewer reserve funds for this.
Sure, we could do that right now, Megan, then that would be off your list. Would somebody make the motion to pay that as explained by Megan?
I'll make the motion.
I'll
Okay.
second. See.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So WD Malone is done. Okay.
Beautiful. The next thing that I had on my list, I hope you guys all have copies of this letter that we received regarding 507 Riverside Drive and the EDUs. I believe there was some type of major leak that happened inside of their facility last year. So when we calculated the EDUs, they had a jump from 3 units to 6 units for water and sewer. They were asking the board to reevaluate our assessment of this, being that this was just a one-time major leak that happened. It wasn't due to ongoing increased usage that happened throughout the year, and that and to consider allowing them to stay at 3 EDUs instead of up to 6 or some compromise in between. And that would be up to you guys if we wanted to honor this request or.
My question is, did
what it
they
is.
pay that large water bill?
I am not.
didn't have a chance today to check that out, but they would have had a very large water bill in that time period. And I was wondering if we forgave that and now they're looking for help on the EDU side.
I don't remember requesting forgiveness for any type of leak of this nature, so I believe that they would have paid that. Joanne can confirm tomorrow or some other time.
I'm looking it up right now.
Okay, thank you, Joanne.
I'd like to see, I don't know, some more paperwork on this because we've had similar issues that we've gone around and around in circles on. So
yeah,
my thoughts, Nancy's thoughts at this particular time is I am not comfortable in giving a decision either direction until we have more information in front of us. So
okay.
That's my thought.
And I agree with you 100% on that.
Is there additional information that we need to request from the actual property owners, such as like some type of maybe restoration or something that happened, kind of showing that something major did happen and not just saying like, oh, we had a big leak, but maybe it really wasn't? Is that
well? I would think that along with we should be able to look through our records also and look and see. And as we said, did they pay? Did they not pay?
But I want to know if they paid.
We have lots of information because we've done this with other people and we've created a lot of information. So
their bill is up to date.
yes, we should be able to have it within our records.
It was paid, Joanne?
Yes, it has been paid.
How much was the bill?
Their bill last time was $238.
No, way back when this had the leak, where they mentioned that they had.
Their highest bill was $305.
There has to be on their bill or on their record a really big bill at one time. If they had this huge water leak that they're talking about.
As like one of the 2019 billings, Joanne, look at the consumption. Does one of them seem significantly larger, probably by about 150 to 200,000 gallons?
I think we're looking at somebody different.
No, we're not. No,
okay.
2018.
2019.
But in his letter, didn't he refer to a number of gallons that they had? And
he referred to a total, not necessarily one in particular bill. He just referred to their total.
Yeah, we got to do a little research on this before we cave in on this one.
Okay.
Okay, well, look, I'll stop by tomorrow.
Sounds good.
Water.
We'll take another look at it at our next board meeting.
If the water's run through the water meter and whether it's a leak or not, they should pay for it.
Oh, right.
No, and they did pay for it. They're just, because our fixed rates are based on their water usage, and typically your fixed rates they're changed every year based on the previous year's consumption. And in most circumstances, when they get the EDU increases, it's because their overall consumption did increase, just from daily usage. Actually use that water, it wasn't lost to a leak. So it's a little bit different circumstance, but technically, yes, that water still did go through their meter and should be accredited for that. So there's kind of two ways to look at it. But yeah, if we can get more information and circle back with it next meeting.
Right. Okay. So Joanne, just pick a note, put that back on the agenda for the next meeting.
Okay.
Please. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Other than that, just some quick updates. The generator and automatic transfer switch was finished being installed today at the water treatment plant, and training is planned for the operators in a couple days. And that was the last big thing we were waiting to have done there. Now we just have some minor programming things to have Aqualogics take care of, but pretty much a majority of this project is wrapped up, and we're on track to have all the contracts closed out by the end of the month. So it's it's exciting news that hopefully this water project is coming to a close here soon. Wastewater plant, everything has still been great. Everything's been going really, really smooth there. Thankfully, we haven't had too many bad storms this spring. Other than that, operators are all doing well, and they've been working with Kinsley Power to get some of our annual PMs and on our generators throughout the village. So they've all been pretty busy.
Megan, I've got a question. Did you get a hold of T-Mobile about the water tower?
Nope, I'm still working on that. I thought you said you were gonna look through the agreement for that and find the
And
contract.
I couldn't find the current one, but I'll take another look for it.
Okay, because I did find some old emails regarding this stuff, so I have someone I can reach out to. I just wasn't sure if it was going to be the same one that you were going to come up. I can reach out to them at any time, as long as you're okay with it.
Sure.
Okay. Does
Megan?
anyone have any other questions? Yep.
New Century Electric change order 3, were you going to address that?
Manasseh will.
Okay. I just didn't want you to forget.
Nope, we got it covered. Any other water sewer questions?
I think we're all good, Megan. Thank you.
Beautiful, thank you. And I guess it's up to you, Manasseh.
All right. Hello, everybody.
Hi, Manasseh.
Manasseh here. Just wanted to run through this New Century change order, and this is for the Historic District project, which is the New Century contract that's working in parallel with the DOT project. As far as the DOT project overall, everything's going well. We've had a lot of things kind of come up that have been addressed along the way, but because of the way that the winter went and just their ability to continue to work and really the lower traffic volume, I think they're ahead of schedule right now, so that's really good. Speaking specifically to New Century's contract, you'll see change order 3 that was sent around to you guys. That change order is to address 3 items. The first item is interduct. That's for $59,000. That amount is to increase the number of interduct that are being installed in the system. When we originally put this out to bid for New Century, we included a total linear feet that would require interduct, but it wasn't specified that there would be 3 interduct per line for that total linear feet. So they provided a price just to install basically 10,800 linear feet of interduct. We actually have to triple that number because they need 3 interduct in each of those 10,000 linear feet. So that price is to increase that. The change order 3.2, the second item was to remove 300 James Street, and that's a heated sidewalk that is no longer going to be installed. And then change order 3.3, or the third item on that change order, is to add a heated sidewalk at 226 James Street that wasn't originally in the contract. And just to kind of give you guys a general sense, this would come out of contingency for the Historic District project. And the last budget summary that I provided you guys with, we were at $737,000 of contingency left to be spent. So that, and that doesn't even take into account the contingency that's already built into some of the DOT portions of that project. So we're in really good shape. In speaking with DOT on the historic, the utility portion of the project, as well as the water and sewer portions, the village, like you guys know, paid 15% contingency up front to them, and they haven't really dug into that at all. They're all the items that they've been working on for the village portion of their contract have been hitting the numbers that they estimated it to be. So overall, this project's in really good shape on the money side. And even though this change order seems like a big chunk, I mean, you guys still have the 737 in contingency currently. So this was definitely an item that needs to be addressed, and will come out of that portion.
Manasseh, on the sidewalk though, that is going to be the property owner's expense, not ours.
Correct. So the first item, the interduct, would be a village share. The second 2 items, the removal of the 300 James and the addition of 226 James, those were both residential costs, so they would be borne by the resident.
Okay. Has anybody got any questions for Manasseh on this change order? If not, can we have a motion to put this change order number 3 through?
I'll make the
I'll
motion.
make them.
Got a second?
I'll second
Someone?
it.
Second from
Steve
Steve?
Bedore.
Okay,
Yep.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
All right.
What else have
If
we
you,
got here? I think we're all done with wastewater, huh?
well, if you guys want, I can give you just two other quick updates. It's not something we need to make a motion on this week, but I will have something for the next meeting for this. The monument on John Street that has the lighthouse, the lighting for that monument, the wiring for that currently goes over to a pole that's served right beside racks. That pole is going away, and that item kind of got missed in the shuffle of this project. So it's on the board now. We're working with DOT and National Grid. We've worked with you. I think you guys were on the call, or we dealt with the easement portion of this maybe 2 weeks ago. But there is going to be a change order portion of this work that's going to go through New Century. And once we get those numbers finalized, I'll get that change order in front of you guys. I anticipate that'll be at your next meeting.
Okay.
And then apart from that, within that project, that portion of the project, National Grid, we've been going back and forth with, and because of how many bends are in the conduit, they're going to require that a vault be installed on John Street to service the three lines that are coming through there. And we've talked to both DOT and New Century on that, and I think it's going to make sense for DOT to do that work, or DOT's contractor to do that work, but it would be within the village share. So I'll probably have another change order at the next meeting also for that work. We're not talking an astronomical number, but it is something that wasn't captured in their first contract. So per standard procedure, we would have to go through and have the village approve that, and then we would send a check to DOT for that amount plus the 15% built on top of it.
Right. Okay.
I'll have that number for you guys hopefully at the next meeting.
Any questions for Manasseh? Okay, thanks for joining us, Manasseh. That helped clarify that change order.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
How about the consent agenda? Anybody got any questions on items 1, 2, and 3? If not, can we have a motion for approval of the consent agenda?
I'll make the motion.
Nancy, and a second?
I'll second it.
Second from Steve. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Capital projects. They've all been checked out by the person that's in charge of those, and they're all legitimate. They're all in the capital projects. So if we don't have any questions, could I have a motion for item number 4?
I'll make the motion.
Nancy, in a second.
I'll second it.
Jeremy?
Yes.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Joanne, wanna take over?
Yes, there's a resolution that we need to do a roll call vote on, and it's for the authorization for the layoff of certain identified competitive class village employees, the police, for civil service. So we have to do a resolution to provide to them for that layoff to be legitimate with that.
Would somebody make that motion, please?
Can you read the resolution, please?
Sure.
The Village of Clayton began working through its 2020-2021 budget process in early March and had identified the need to reduce expenditures considerably. And during the budget process, Governor Andrew Cuomo declared a disaster emergency in the state of New York to address the threat that COVID-19 poses to the health and welfare of its residents and visitors. And the COVID-19 has had the continues to have an additional significant financial impact for the village. And now therefore be it that the Village of Clayton trustees authorize the permanent layoff of the below listed competitive job title retroactive to April 25th, 2020, full-time police officer. And then we'll do a roll call vote if everybody's okay with this.
Okay,
The question of adoption for the foregoing resolution was duly put to vote. Norma Zimmer,
yes,
Steve Bedore,
Yes.
Nancy Hyde,
Yes.
Michelle Grabowski,
Yes.
Jeremy Kellogg.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. Next we have, hold on, let me get there. So you guys received the new rates for the employees?
yeah, and I think it shouldn't say new employees, Joanne. It's a approved.
No,
new
it's
rates.
approved new employee pay rate.
Okay, it looks like to me like it. New
Yeah,
employee. So these are the union contract rates that went into effect June 1st, with the exception of the clerk, because we're going to make that a salaried position. And you got the new update on that, right, everybody?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions?
Well, I do in reference to Joanne putting her at salary, and I understand with our new budget, we had said no overtime. But with her being on salary, she'll still just work 40 hours, correct?
Correct.
Okay, because I don't want to see her working 45 and just be on salary. All right, thank you. I make a motion to accept these new pay rates for June 1st.
Okay, do we have a second? Would somebody second that, please?
I'll second it.
Thanks, Jeremy. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank
Aye.
you. And we took care of the pickleball, so that was good. There seemed to be a little confusion over the property tax extension. We had at the May 11th meeting, we talked about it, and the board okayed us going with the extension if the governor decided to do it. By our last meeting, he hadn't done it. On June 2nd, executive order came through, but our taxes had already been printed with a June 30th date on it. But they have been extended to July 21st. There was a 21-day extension that's granted through this executive order. And Jefferson County Real Tax has updated the software, so when Joanne puts them in, there won't be anything that kicks out if they pay them after June 30th for a late fee. So that'll be really helpful for her, not have to keep track of that. So we'll put that on the web page, the extension to July 21st for executive order for tax collection. So that would be a good thing to have done. And we have to have a deputy treasurer and a deputy clerk. So we should appoint Joanne as a deputy treasurer. So if somebody would make that motion, and we only have two choices here, we're kind of slim on help. So
I'd make that
motion to have Joanne the deputy treasurer, please.
I'd make that motion.
Okay.
Michelle.
Okay, and a second?
I'll second, Nancy.
Thanks, Nancy. All in favor?
Aye.
And
Aye.
okay, so the deputy clerk, Alicia. This will be really helpful for us if we need somebody to sign something and one isn't there. We need that backup. So the deputy clerk would be Alicia Dewey. Would somebody make that motion, please?
I'll make that motion.
Okay,
Well,
thank you.
I would like a clarification. She's doing this all at the same pay raise, or that the same
Absolutely.
at
Yep.
the pay that she
Yes.
gets as treasurer.
Yes.
All right, then I'll
I'll
second.
make the motion.
We got a motion and we got a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Now, another thing that came up over the weekend that you probably saw in the paper was about the request for an extension on the pilot payment from the hotel. And the hotel went to Don Alexander at IDA to make this request, which they cannot give. And as a courtesy, Don Alexander sent me a quick email over the weekend to tell me that they had asked for it. And apparently there must have been somebody at their meeting from the press. I didn't hear from anyone over the weekend about it. I read it in the paper and then I got this quick email from Don Alexander. And I wanted to get Joe Russell, our attorney's opinion on it. I did that today and I reached out to Tina. And the 90 days would extend the pilot payment and at no extra fee to them. And we're just, doesn't need any legal letter or anything. Joe said we just, if we approve this, we can send them a letter to extend it for the 90 days because definitely has to be in this budget and they asked for only 90 days. So does anybody have Joe Russell thought it was the right thing to do. Tina thought it was. IDA thought it was. So that's a cornerstone.
Yeah, but they're not the taxpayer. So my question is, you can tell I'm a little, not heated, but I'm concerned. Do we have enough cash without their payment?
Yes.
For the next 3 months, because
that's why I wanted Tina's input on it and she was fine with it.
So we have enough.
I'm fine with it.
I don't know. It doesn't feel right to me.
I'm afraid I'm having a problem with it as well.
It's not going to put us in a financial pinch.
I don't see how it could not.
Because you're also going to have residents not paying their taxes on time with the extension.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not going to have the cash. You're not going to have the cash coming in that we usually have in June.
Mm-hmm. You're talking $30,000.
Pardon me?
That's a lot of money.
I agree with you. I'm not saying that, but I'm looking at it as a
we can't hire dock workers, but we can extend these people 90 days. And we were looking at just a couple $1,000s for dock workers. And this is 15,000, or how much is this? My understanding is 15. What is it?
The pilot payment is 30,000.
And we get the full 30, or do we get half of that?
No, well, I don't know where the half would come in.
I'm just asking a question. So
I don't understand the question, I guess.
I thought we only got 15 and I thought we got 15. I thought that's what was in the budget.
It moves up every year. We're into the 6th year of this. This year it's 30.
Okay. That's great that we get 30. That's great, but that's $30,000 and we've been bickering over dock attendants for 3,000 to 5,000. So that's where I have my issues.
Well, we're talking revenue and you're talking expenses. They're going to pay.
I understand, but you're also 90 days without getting the 30,000.
I think that the issue is that we need to make sure we have money now to cover everything, and I'm not sure we will.
That's why I reached out to Tina, asked her where we were, And would that be an impact if we didn't get the 30,000 by July? Theirs is June 30th. She had no problem with it.
Well, I do.
If they pay on time, we'll be all right.
Oh, I'm
Yeah,
sure
but
they
they're
will.
asking for an extension.
They're asking for a 90-day extension on the pilot payment. Yes,
And the pilot payment would normally come in June.
in June.
And so they're asking to extend June, July, August, so it would be sometime in September.
Correct. Haven't seen many cars in that parking lot.
There hasn't been many cars in any parking lot. I mean,
That's why we're in trouble.
Jeremy might have a tough time paying, you know, they haven't done any yoga down there. There's many people that are in the same situation. And it concerns me to say, sure, no problem. And then we get into a situation that we don't have money.
And I guess, you know, how it looks to other people matters. If I don't have money to pay my mortgage, nobody gives me a 3-month extension. If someone doesn't have money to pay their water bill, we charge them a late fee. I don't know. I'm just not happy with the idea.
And the other issue that I have is, and I understand, Norma, you just found out about it, but we read it in the newspaper, and then at 6:10
Well, I
tonight,
read it the same time you did, Nancy.
I understand
I
that.
appreciate Don Alexander coming through with an email to say it was even out there.
I think what
Apparently
she's trying to say is it's not enough time.
You want a $30,000 decision made in 4 minutes. I don't know.
Can we table it for to the next meeting, Norma? Would that be okay?
Sure, it's fine. I guess I look at it differently than the rest of you, so that's fine. I'll send a note back to David Hart to tell him that the board decided they had to have more time to think about this.
Because I'd like to speak with Tina and hear it and talk with her about it.
Well, I'm kind of disappointed that I talked to Tina today. I sent her an email and asked her, that's why I didn't put anything out, because I didn't have anything to share with you. And the meeting was tonight, so.
I guess I'd like to see it on paper before we make a decision.
Yes.
I mean, I'm just old school in terms of how my brain functions. And so if Tina could put something on paper that we can look at, it would help me immensely.
Why don't we call Tina right now?
Because it's still not on paper.
Okay.
I'm just not an audio. Finances aren't my strong point, and doing it all by hearing it versus by looking at it is hard for me.
I trust Tina's word, but
But you haven't heard Tina's word. You want to see it in writing. If Tina tells me, I'll say sure. And I know, Norma, you're thinking we don't trust you.
I believe Norma,
in this
but
time.
I think it's too important an issue to just hurry up.
Tina had sent her thoughts on that this morning, and I just emailed it to you.
Well, it would have been nice, again, had we had something earlier. So I will wait until next meeting to make my decision.
Okay, sounds fine. Thank you.
All right.
Does anyone else have anything they want to talk about?
The DeWalts are supposed to be here, yes. They were requested to be on the agenda. Are they not on with us?
We're here.
Okay. Now, do the guidelines for the public comments, are you familiar with those?
No, I am not.
Okay, but you're both on and you want to speak to the board about your issue over on Union Street, correct?
Yes, please.
Okay, and so you've given your name and your address, and the comments are limited to 5 minutes. So if you'd like to just go ahead, we'd like to hear what you have to say.
All right, great. That would be wonderful. Okay, so why are we addressing the Village Board of Trustees? Okay, we've tried to have a dialogue for 4 years. We've been totally ignored. So we're bringing it to this public forum, which we really didn't want to do. But if you look at the PDF file that I sent you, slide 3, you'll see the 4 years of stress and frustration that we've encountered. So at our first zone meeting, Jake Van Reenen said he wanted to build barges. We told Rich Ingerson, we reviewed it, we went over it with our neighbor, we agreed to finally a small non-manufacturing retail space. That cost us $2,500 in legal fees to get there. So since then, we've reached out to the CEO, the mayor, the board of trustees, Lance Peterson, looking for anyone who has supervisory influence, and we've had no result. Everybody points fingers at each other and deflects and says, oh, it's not me. And this is what this has done, is caused us to pit neighbor against neighbor. And I don't like that. That's not me. So what do we want? We want you guys to provide clarity as to the mayor and the board's role in zoning and enforcement. Who does the CEO report to in the village? Not the town, but the village. We want the village board to perform the duties as required by the New York State and local law with transparency. Okay, so we've listed what the mayor and the board of trustees roles are in zoning. Slide 13 is the mayor's role. Slide 14 is more on the mayor. It's who's the boss? The mayor's the boss. Okay, so then we go into the trustee role in zoning. And lastly, we look at the Village of Clayton's own role. What is your rules for the Board of Trustees in zoning? So this matter has been handled with at least a perceived conflict of interest. So, and we list what conflicts of interest are. Okay, here's New York State Article 18. We go to slide 19. Disclosure. What should be disclosed when a trustee has a conflict of interest? Who should they disclose it to? So now let's review the current situation, right? Here's what was approved on slide 21 in the Planning Board of Approval for 815 Union Street. If you look at the green, it was complied to. The red, not yet complied to. Now remember, this is 2016. So let's look at the review of certificate of occupancy. And what does that mean? So how did the certificate of occupancy get approved for 815 Union Street if the zoning and or planning board specifications have yet to be met? So let's look, slide 24. What is the certificate of occupancy? What's the definition? Slide 25 is a continuation of that. Slide 26. If a certificate of occupancy was approved, why was it not revoked after 4 years of non-compliance? So we go to slide 27. This is certificate of occupancy revocation. What are the rules? Slide 28. Why was a cease and desist not issued for manufacturing that was clearly not approved in the original variance that I, Jim Duswalt, and Candace Duswalt approved? Why was a cease and desist not issued for manufacturing that was not approved? Slide 29. The owner's original intent, based on the meeting minutes, was fabrication. The final approval was maintenance of business equipment and retail at the planning board. And I have a lawyer's document that says this is what was approved. This building and its property have been used for fabrication ever since. So the village, without our outcry, has done nothing for 4 years. So let's look at the parcels used by Seaway Marine, and it's separated by Wilbur Wall's property, right? You've got the waterfront parcel, which is used for construction, large equipment storage, loading and unloading, and it's taxed as residential. That might interest you guys on the taxing. Is the waterfront at a dead-end street the village property? Who owns the dead-end street? If you look at Union Street, it's clearly owned by Seaway Marine. They have a houseboat there, they have a dock there, they have driveways, they're doing fabrication down there. Take a walk down there, you'll see. Okay, dead-end street usage. What is a dead-end street for in Clayton, New York? It's supposed to provide and protect and provide to everybody in the village the usage of the waterfront. Is the village lending out waterfront to the harbor? Okay, if it is, we'd like some, and I'm sure our neighbors would. I'd like to put my boat there because I pay for dockage. Mooring permits. Let's talk about the scows and the barges and all this stuff out in the village harbor. You're supposed to pay a permit fee of about $600 per barge. As far as I can tell, there's no permits. Okay, so let's talking about what parking was approved for in the zoning. If you look at slide 36, that's what it looks like in the parking area. Slide 37, there's your current status of parking. Okay, slide 38, parking status. You can see they're building barges in the parking lot. So let's look at the parking along the street on Union Street. On slide 39, you can see all the parking. They're parking everywhere. Okay, slide 40, the Planning Board of Approval said we're going to put in a 6-foot fence. Slide 41, is a 6-foot fence in 2020? Not installed. Slide 41, 2020 status. Slide 41. 42, here's the current status. My neighbor Chrissy put in a 6-foot fence. I put in a 6-foot fence. My neighbor did not. Again, the planning board meeting said everything will be behind this privacy fence. 43.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, sir.
Excuse me. How much more have you got here? We're up.
Oh, just a few minutes. No more than 3 minutes.
Okay.
Slide 44. Take a look at that. This is what I see from my backyard through a 6-foot fence. Slide 45. What were the hours of operation approved? 8 to 5. Slide 45. That's been consistently ignored. They start at 7:30 and they go for whenever they want. Slide 47. I'm really sorry you can't hear this, but you can. The noise in my house at 7 a.m. sounds like this. So let's go to 10 p.m. and this is what the sound was like at 10 p.m. But you can't hear it. I'm sorry. But they were moving a dock at 10 p.m. and you have that same backup noise. It's not like they're moving something for the electric company. They moved a dock. So the sidewalks are supposed to also be included. Slide 50, no sidewalks installed. Okay, so the village code is to charge us for clearing snow on a sidewalk. Is the way around this not to have a sidewalk? So not only do the businesses at the end of Union Street not have sidewalks, but egress is often blocked. You can see in slide 52, you can't get through the sidewalk. Slide 53, you can see where people are parked. Slide 54, let's look at other patterns of behavior. Slide 55, there's a trailer bed that was installed without a permit or a variance, and it remains today. I had to get a permit for my storage shed. Here's slide 56, you can see the storage shed. Slide 55. Okay, so let's look at the dock at the end of Union Street. Was there a permit ever applied for that dock? Okay, here's the only permit ever applied for by Van Reenen or Seaway Marine. It's for dredging. Okay, now you can look at what we originally looked. 57 shows what the end of Union Street used to look like. 58 shows what it looks like today. 659, look at Seaway Marine's online presence. They build docks. 62, they say we build docks. 63, you can see, slide 61, you can see the docks. They're not finger docks. These are 30-foot long docks.
Excuse me, sir.
Go ahead.
We've extended through the courtesy of the public comment period.
Okay.
There's a lot of information here that I
You
personally
can
was
look
not
at this.
aware of.
I'm fine, Norma. You can look at this all you want. I can stop right here. What I want to know is who does the ZEO report to in the village so we can follow up with these issues? Because it's been going on for 4 years and we've been given a runaround. Who can I speak to? Who can I meet with this week or next week to resolve these issues? I'm fine. We can stop right here.
Thank you, sir. We work with a code enforcement officer, so that's who we're working with.
No. Who do I meet with for the village who's responsible to make him do his job?
Who does he
I'll talk
answer
to the board.
Norma, who does the ZEO answer to in the village? We know who he answers to in the town. That's very clear.
That's Lance
But
Peterson.
who does he answer to in the village?
The code enforcement officer works for, he's employed by the town, he works for the village. We contract with him.
Okay,
So
so
he
who does
reports to us, and that's who we've been working with, and he has addressed some of these issues that I was familiar with that have been taken care of.
No,
And
they're
it
not.
was,
Norma?
Nope, they're not. I spoke to the police chief. I spoke to everybody that you said was supposed to be handling this. Nobody's handling it. Nobody knows who the zoning.
Dick Ingerson is the code enforcement officer.
Who does he report to in the village?
Who's his boss, Norma?
I think they're saying it doesn't appear that he's doing his job, and who's supposed to make him do his job?
Yes, that's exactly what I'm asking. Who is supposed to make him do his job in the village?
Obviously, it's us.
So who can I meet with to go over these issues to make sure they're all dealt with? Because this has been
There's a
going on
lot
for
more
4 years.
issues that you brought up tonight than I was aware with. I can address the sign law, I can address the sidewalk that we've talked to him about. The siding has been taken care of. The tote box that was in the way, that's supposed to be out of there this week.
Okay, so if you
Those
look at
are
the
the
last,
issues that I was aware of.
if you look at the entire presentation in the last slide,
I haven't seen it present. I have not seen it.
I
since
sent it
just
to you.
brought
You
up.
have it, Norma.
Well,
Norma,
when did
Go
you
look.
send it?
We sent it to you before the meeting.
Well, before the
please,
meeting,
please.
I got home from work at 10 minutes to 5 and I had a meeting at 5.
That's fine, Norma. Take your time to review it. I would love to sit down with whoever Richard reports to next week and go over every one of these issues. Tell me who to meet with, and I would gladly meet with them.
Have you ever sent this to the code enforcement officer?
Absolutely. For 4 years. And all this is doing is make me fight with my neighbor. I don't want to fight with my neighbor. That's not my job. It's the town's job, the village's job.
Well, it's certainly, it's not the town, my job. He is the code enforcement officer. He is
But Norma, it's all of our jobs to make sure he does his job.
It's not being done, Norma. I'm telling you, it's not being done.
I believe you.
So who do I meet with to go over this with? Assign somebody. You're the boss. Tell me who to meet with.
I talked to him today, and for the issues that I asked him about, he had addressed them all but the sidewalk, and they couldn't do that.
That's not true, Norma. I can tell you. Look at my presentation, where we are today. That's not true. I can tell you without any uncertainty. It's not true.
Just walk down there.
Just walk down there. There's fabrication going on today. It's not approved. That's against the law. When are we going to stop it?
Norma, do you want me to meet with them? I'd be more than happy to.
I'll give Richard a call tomorrow. He never said that he had gotten this presentation that you gave to us. He's never mentioned that.
Nope, I did not send it to Richard.
But he should know.
It's the mayor's job.
I'm looking for, who do I speak to? Who's in charge of Richard for the village?
He reports to the village board.
Okay, so I'm talking to the right people then.
Right. and you've put out a lot of issues here tonight that I myself was not aware of.
I've been copying everybody for 4 years. I'm sorry you didn't know about this.
Norma, we left you messages and you're in all our emails. Look at the first slide, which is a fishbone of all the emails that you've received. And we've left you messages and you never call us back. You never answer our emails.
That fishbone shows everybody I've contacted.
And that,
I would like to tackle this if I may.
Who's this?
Don't you have a conflict of interest?
Yeah, well, not anymore. I mean, I don't have any really business or association with Jake, and I've been trying to work with Kevin in trying to get the siding on. This is Jeremy Kellogg.
Jeremy Kellogg.
Jeremy, when I raised the issue of conflict of interest, it was about your relationship with Jake on.
Oh, I understand that. Yeah, I understand that.
I know that's gone now, and thank you.
I can give you I'd be happy to give you a hand, Jeremy.
Yeah,
if
sure.
you need some help.
I would love
Yeah.
to. That would be great.
can I say something? Jeremy, I'm not saying that I don't want you to do anything,
Okay.
especially if there's not a conflict of interest. However, I'm a little protective because my husband is a stage 4 kidney cancer. And
Okay.
that is our primary focus, is keeping my husband alive. And our life has been so disrupted with our sleep over this, you can't even imagine. And we've heard so many times from Rich Ingerson, Jeremy's going to go talk to Jake. For 4 years, we've heard Jeremy's going to talk to Jake.
Well,
And
not really 4 years. I've only been on the board for, let's see, 6 months or so about now, right?
well,
And so I apologize for any inconvenience that you guys are facing. I totally understand your position and your concerns. And I've tried to relay these to Jake to try to keep lawyers. I'm trying to mitigate this the best I can. And so, with regard to the end of Union Street, I think he's pulled his dock up and he's moved the boat onto the other side. I leased that whole side of the dock to him. I know it's a conflict of interest, but I joined the board because I was asked to join the board, and I'm just trying to solve some of the problems that the village faces without.
And I appreciate that, but to be
I would
honest
be
with you,
happy to do it. I know
Who's that?
it's Michelle.
Hi, Michelle.
Because
Thank you.
I'm not only the property owner, I'm a builder, a developer, a real estate person, all these things, and I know a lot about
I get that.
and I know I'm from the village. I've been here all my life. I know what's going on. I know the past deals with the village. It used to be abandoned property with just old cribs, and I made an agreement with the board a long time ago to put a seawall in there, and I just used it as a right of way to get access to the property. I think even Leonard O'Brien parked his boat there for many years while he worked at Custis's on Grindstone, and that's how it was treated.
And I get that.
And we
but that's
put
not the
our
way it
timbers
should be.
in there, and that's the way. And
I
that's
think
and
but
with
Jeremy,
regard
the
to
issue
that,
is how to get Dick to do his job at
right.
this
Right.
point.
So the end of
I mean,
Union Street, I agree.
fine.
I agree. The end of Union Street has been used that way for years, but that's not the way it's supposed to be used. It's supposed to be park benches and people sitting there and looking over the water.
Sure. I never, and it could have, and it still can, and he agreed to move everything out of that right of way.
Okay, but who did he agree that to? Who did he agree that to?
He said that to me, and he
Okay,
said he was going to
so-
move. He said he was going to put the boat along the aluminum floating dock, and then just tie the raft along his boat. Sure, it's in the riparian rights of the village, but it's not obstructing anybody's access to the waterfront. I haven't walked over there in a couple of days.
Okay,
And-
so
That's not
let
the
me
only
ask you
issue,
this.
Jeremy. Okay, folks, let's calm down here.
All I'm
Dick
looking
so
Ingerson is the code
I'm
enforcement
not trying to make
officer.
an argument out of it. I'm just trying
I
to
know you're not.
mitigate
No, I
mitigate
can
the problem.
appreciate Jeremy trying to work with Jake. He knows the situation down there, and we have tried to work, and we are continuing to work with the code enforcement officer to get these things done. Of course, they're using more excuses now, the virus, they couldn't get a contractor. And so
They worked through all of COVID. They never stopped. They never stopped. They always said, oh, I am an essential business. And Richard supported that.
And I said to Richard, have you seen any documentation for this? And he said no.
They were not an essential business. French Bay was. They were not.
Maybe their transportation part, but not their fabrication.
Which they sold in August of last year. So let's just get past that, right? Who do I work with? Just tell me a name. If it's Jeremy and somebody else, and I'm sorry, Jeremy, I'd like it to be somebody else with
Oh, no,
you.
that's fine. I was just volunteering. That's all.
No, and I appreciate it. I really do.
I'd be glad to help you out, Jeremy. Let me know and I'll be there.
Absolutely.
Well, I've said my piece several times, so I'm giving up.
No, don't give up, please.
Don't give up. You can help.
May I say something?
Yeah, please.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
okay, so I'm going to work with code enforcement. I have talked to him numerous times. As late as today, I talked to him, and he had accomplished some of the things that we had out there.
Manufacturing's still going on. It's been going on for 4 years. That has not stopped.
So, excuse me, my take on the whole thing would be we can work with the code enforcer, but to hold his feet to the fire, you'd have to get a judge involved. I mean, the code enforcer, you can just say you can't do that, and they're like, well, okay, well, I'll do it anyway. What are you going to do? Sue me, right?
The town has the right. The town has the right to issue a cease and desist. The town has the right to make them stop.
The village.
Yes, they do.
Yes, the village does. And they have chosen not to for 4 years.
Richard Ingerson said that your lawyer said, he said, if I were to give a cease and desist, first Richard told us that if he put in an application for manufacturing, which by the way, you have to have 100 feet from any residential neighbor, which he doesn't have. So I don't even know why it was accepted. But if he does go for manufacturing, he puts in the application, according to your own code, he has to stop. He's not allowed to fabricate while he's applying for an application. Then Richard came back and said he talked to your village attorney, who said, no, we can't stop him.
We can't stop him. We're not going to stop him.
Yeah, well, yeah, I
wrong.
understand that, and most certainly a cease and desist would be a temporary Band-Aid, and it wouldn't be a long-term fix. So
no,
and I'm sure I'm pretty sure, because I know these individuals quite well. I've known Jake since he was a little kid.
That's fine. Do you know I've been threatened with a harassment over this?
Saying we followed in our car. We've never done that.
So I don't know. I don't want to
know. I'm just saying that I'm just trying to opine a little bit here and say that if we do a cease and desist, that is that's drawing a line in the sand, and it's going to get everybody.
But sometimes we have to.
And to be
At
honest
this point,
with
that's
you,
what needs to be
the
done.
feeling I'm getting one way or the other is they really don't care.
No, they don't. They're going to do what they want until you tell them that they can't.
That's right. And so we'll tell them that they can't, and then they will eventually get what they want if they.
No, they won't. They'll move out of the village, just like the manufacturing of the what was it? The mechanical boats. They moved out of the village because they couldn't do what they wanted to do in the village.
This is too big of an operation.
I did the same thing. I moved out of the village too, and I hear you. I understand. I bought the property of Grindstone Fabrications outside the village because that's where we take our our boat trailers and all the stuff that we don't want to see sitting around the yard.
Yeah.
Right. But
manufacturing does not belong in the village. It's that simple. It doesn't belong in the village.
I understand that, and I agree with you. I agree with you.
Jeremy, the piece you're missing is that we can find them and do some other
Yeah.
things besides
Oh yeah, yeah,
place
yeah.
the
I
music.
understand, and maybe we should just do that, right? I'm
I'm
not saying
thinking
what
we
you should.
should.
And so we hear you, um, and there's compassion with this. I personally don't like it myself. I'm a neighbor too,
I agree
right?
with you, but it's not killing you. It's killing me.
Right. Yeah, I get it. I get it.
Okay, thank you.
Can I say something in all this? I live over there too.
Go ahead, Chrissy.
Yes.
Hi, yeah, I agree with everything that Jim and Candy are saying. The problem with him is he treats us like he's better than us, and he has no care or compassion for our homes and what we try to live there. He just thinks he's better than us, and he treats us terribly. You know, I'd had to put through my insurance company continually breaking my fence. And what does he put in there? That metal container, which again is a violation. We don't want trouble. We just want him to do what he's supposed to do. And no matter what you tell him, he just does whatever he wants. These are our homes. And this was the concern 4 years ago.
Thank you, Christy.
Thank you.
Thank
Okay.
you,
And honestly,
Jim and
I
Candy.
reached out to a board member and I didn't get a response either.
Say something.
Okay, so who do I meet with? When do we meet? And how do we resolve this?
We're not going to set a time or a date right now. I'm going to talk to code enforcement tomorrow, and I will get back to you.
Well, I reached out to codes again today about nothing still has been done other than the siding. I'm pretty sure there's more stuff there in the last week.
So
This is how he operates.
all I'm asking Norma is tell me who to meet with.
I
That's
just
fine.
said to you, Jim, I'm going to go see the code enforcement officer
So does that
tomorrow.
mean I reach out to you in 4 days and find out what's going on, and then we go
I'll
back to the
call you
board in a week?
tomorrow we're trying to stay out of a lawsuit. I can tell
I
you
get
that
that.
right now.
I get that, but this is what they're doing is illegal. There should be no lawsuit. It's illegal. So when do we meet and
I'm
say
not
the
going to set
law
a
is going
date
to be
right
followed?
now. I'm not
Why
setting
not?
a date. I'm talking
We're
to the
looking
code,
for
and I'll
help.
call you tomorrow.
You'll call me privately tomorrow? What
Yes, I
about these
will.
people on the call that want to know what's going on?
Yeah, that includes me. Nobody's got back to me.
It can't be a private phone conversation. It can't be a private meeting. It has to be
Norma,
documented.
this isn't just for you, it's for the whole board. I'd be happy to meet with you. I know Norma doesn't approve, it's pretty obvious.
I think we should
Go ahead.
be a little bit nicer to the mayor right now and
I get
understand that she's trying to tell you that she will help you, but she can't set a date or time right now. But she will let you know.
So does that mean that we're saying that Richard Ingerson reports directly to the
It
mayor?
doesn't mean
To the
anything.
board.
It doesn't mean anything. We have to get back to you. And that is
All
what
right,
the mayor has been trying to tell
that's
you.
fine.
And
When do
Well,
you
then,
get back?
what about a
This,
cease and assist
excuse
until
me.
somebody does something?
You've, excuse me. We've listened to your concerns. They're
All right,
considerably
thank you.
more than I've been made aware of. And I will go meet with Richard tomorrow, and I will get back to you with what we found out, where we're at, if there's things that he hasn't shared with us. And we'll see what we can do to get this resolved in a situation that's been going on for 4 years. I can see your frustration.
Please, thank you very much. I appreciate that recognition, but I need to know that it's not just going to disappear into the Neverland
It's
of,
not going to disappear. We're going
well,
to take a look at it. I'll talk to Jeremy, get some guidance. We'll see what we can do to get this thing wrapped up.
Why can't we do a cease and assist until this is figured out?
We
I'll
may. We
talk,
have to make a collective decision after we discuss it with the zoning.
Okay,
right.
thank you.
all right, so I will expect the board and the mayor to figure out what to do and then get back to me.
Absolutely.
Correct.
Before the
Yes.
next board meeting,
Absolutely.
please, before the next board meeting.
We meet on, I don't have the date right here in front of me. 2 weeks from tonight.
That's fair, right? 2 weeks?
2 weeks from tonight. We'll meet
Certainly,
again.
I think that's more than fair.
Thank you very
Yep.
much. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.
Take care.
Okay, board members, where are you?
I'm here.
Okay. Is there anything else anybody on the board wants to share? I'll go down and see Richard. He had a list of half a dozen things that hadn't been taken care of, and most of them were off the list that I had today when I talked to him. So the biggest issue is the time. They're not supposed to start work before 8 o'clock.
No, the
And
biggest
that was-
issue is they're not supposed to work. They're not supposed to be fabricating.
Right, but the biggest issue that they've had with Richard is that he hasn't stopped him from going to work, and he can't stop him from going in the building, but he can stop him from working, I think. But we're trying to do what we can to keep this not turning into a lawsuit.
I think it's
Yeah,
too late.
Yeah, it
And
might be too
you're-
late, but
You put out a cease and desist, and you're starting a lawsuit.
I don't
Right.
think that he's the one who's going to do the lawsuit. I think they are.
Pardon?
either way, it's a catch-22.
Right. Exactly.
You're going to get a cease and desist is going to get a lawsuit from Jake, and a non-cease and desist is going to get a lawsuit from the neighbor.
I think we have
This guy
more,
is-
but we have more credibility with Jake than we do with the neighbor, because the neighbor is complaining that we are not enforcing the rules. Jake is not following the rules we have. So we have more clout with Jake if he sues than we do if they sue. If they sue, unfortunately, it's because they're right.
We have to do the prudent thing, and that's make him oblige his commitment.
He's not going to.
You don't know that.
Nope, but I can take a good guess.
Well,
that gets us in trouble, Michelle. I mean, I can see where Dick Ingerson's coming from. You know where we've been on another deal where we got in trouble, and we're still in trouble.
Well,
And that's where I'm weak, because I don't see how we're going to get out of this without a lawsuit.
So
You're absolutely right.
Error on the side where we have some clout. We have the law on our side with Jake.
We have the law on our side on the TIN too.
Well,
yeah,
I'm not sure that was
it
handled
doesn't
right.
stop the lawyer bills from coming. Being right does not stop the lawyer bills from coming.
Right.
It's
Exactly.
Then we need
we got to get a code enforcement officer that does his job a little better.
Thank you.
Maybe a little quicker too.
Yeah.
I agree with you 100%, Steve Bedore. And if Richard had been doing his job all along, we would not be having this discussion tonight.
Yeah.
Well,
It is not
we
per
are.
se the board. Look at all that's transpired. You're 100% correct. Thank you.
Yeah, it got out of control.
He let it get out of control.
Yep. So, that being said, it's an internal problem,
Mm-hmm.
and we have to solve it.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll solve it as fast as we can. Because it's just going to be a nagging. It's just like a sore tooth.
And I agree
it's
with
gonna
you,
ha-
Jeremy. Absolutely.
It's going to happen
As soon
with
as
the
it can
way
get
the
done, let's move it forward. Thank you.
Yeah, let's just do what we got to do.
Right. And the way the
And I will
code
try
enforcement.
to mitigate. If we do the cease and desist, I'll just say, hey, I told you so. Let's talk now, right? Because it's the only way. He's kind of got his back against the wall a little bit. All right, he's got to comply a little bit.
Well, we think he does.
Yeah, absolutely.
Jeremy, do you want to go down with me and talk to Richard or not?
Sure, if if you want me to, yeah, absolutely.
I'm not, I'll see if he's, I think he's in every day, isn't he now, Alicia?
Yes, he's there from 7 or 7:30 to 10 and from 2 to 3:30.
You want to pick a time now, Jeremy, and go down?
Sure, sure.
What do you want to do?
What's good for you, Norma?
Oh, I'm 8 o'clock tomorrow morning,
Well, how about 8:30?
8:30 tomorrow
Yeah.
morning, meet you at the town office. And I'll
Okay.
call him to make sure he's going to be there. And if he's not for some reason, I'll get hold of you.
Okie doke.
Okay? Does
Tomorrow.
that sound okay to the board?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Yep.
Is there anything else?
I don't
I
think
don't have
so.
anything.
If not, can we have a motion
Public
to?
comment? Can we do a public comment?
Oh, I'm sorry, Joe. Sure.
No, this is Susie. He had to go in and get my sandwich. Susie O'Neill representing myself. Because a lot of us can't get the visual on these meetings, these virtual meetings, could the board please, when they take a vote, all in favor, aye, could we do an all opposed so we know if there's a board member that's not voting for a specific issue? Because we can't, when you start talking over each other, we can't tell who's
Yeah, sounds
saying
like a
aye
good
or
idea.
nay. I'm sorry?
Sounds like a good idea.
Thank you so much. I
Sure.
appreciate it.
Okay.
How about
Are we all set?
Mayor? Okay.
Anything
That
else?
it?
Is there anyone else there that has comment? If not,
We're set.
is the board all set?
I'm
I think
completely
so.
satisfied.
Fine. Yep.
Okay. Are we going to have a motion here?
Nancy will make the motion to adjourn the meeting.
Do I have a
I'll
second?
second it. I'll second
Second?
it, Jeremy.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yippee! Aye. Yes. Thank you.
Yep. Bye.